Two sisters, one inseparable bond. Linda and Cynthia had grown up doing everything together. They were best friends, they were twins, and for years, nothing could come in between them. Until one day, everything changed. And then, the accident happened. Linda had no idea what to do. Her sister wasn't responding and she was terrified. With shaking hands, she called for help. Minutes later, an ambulance rushed them to the hospital, and that night, the entire Wilson family waited anxiously for answers. The doctors examined Cynthia and assured them that she was stable, but she was still unconscious. By the following morning, Cynthia opened her eyes. Her parents were relieved to see her awake. Linda was still shaking from everything that had happened. She tried to get close to her sister, hoping that maybe this would finally be the moment they could talk. But Cynthia wanted nothing to do with her. Sis, I'm so glad you're awake. What are you doing here? Leave now, you caused this. And for Linda, that hurt more than she could explain. Her parents eventually decided it would be best for Linda to go home and get some rest. But the moment she got into the car with her father, she completely broke down. She had been holding everything in for so long, and once she was finally alone, the tears just wouldn't stop. When she got home, she went straight to her room. No explanations, no conversations. She just cried. And after everything finally became quiet, Linda picked up the framed picture of herself and Cynthia, two sisters who once did absolutely everything together. It was hard for her to understand how they had gotten here. Meanwhile, Cynthia remained in the hospital, and for the next few days, Linda kept coming back, but she never went inside. She would stand outside the room and quietly look through the glass as her parents sat beside Cynthia, talking to her and bringing her little gifts. Linda wanted to go in. She wanted to hug her sister, but something inside her kept telling her that maybe Cynthia didn't want her there. This went on for almost a week, and eventually, Linda's parents sat her down. They told her that the doctors were taking care of Cynthia and that she couldn't put her entire life on hold. Linda didn't want to leave.
Linda, you have to go back to school.
I don't want to leave her. We know, but your sister is being taken care of. You staying here every day is not helping either of you. But what if she needs me?
We are here. The doctors are here. Cynthia will be fine. But your future won't wait, Linda. You've worked too hard.
But after a lot of convincing, she finally agreed to return to school. And that was when the problem began. People were talking. Somehow, the story had already spread around school. And according to the rumors, Linda was the reason Cynthia had ended up in the hospital. Some of Linda's friends stopped talking to her. Others would whisper whenever she walked past. And one day, Linda was getting her books from her locker, and a few students decided to say it to her face.
Look, guys, it's the twin that almost killed her sister.
They called her the twin who almost killed her own sister. Linda was stunned. She didn't fight back. She simply stood there and took it because the truth was, a part of her agreed with them. After school, she went straight back to the hospital. She still didn't enter. She just stood outside Cynthia's room, watching relatives come in and out, bringing gifts and checking on her. And Linda didn't care that everyone else's attention had shifted to Cynthia. She didn't want attention. She just wanted her sister to get better. Then a few days later, Vicky showed up, and Cynthia was genuinely so happy to see her. Vicky sat with her, they talked, she caught her up on everything happening at school. And then, almost casually, she mentioned something.
Cynthia, you wouldn't believe it. Believe what? You've gotten so popular since after the accident. What?
Everyone
No
had been
way.
talking about Cynthia. People were asking about her, people were checking on her. She had become the person everyone noticed. And then Vicky asked a question that sounded innocent, but wasn't.
Honestly, Cynthia, I've never seen so many people care about you like this. They're just being nice, nah. No, but seriously, even in school, nobody is really talking about Linda anymore. Everyone is asking about you, how you're feeling. When has that ever happened? It's like the accident made people finally see you. You know, like they finally noticed you exist. That's not a good thing, Vicky. I'm not saying the accident was good. I'm just saying the attention is. So what are you saying exactly? I'm saying, what if you didn't walk out on two legs just yet?
Cynthia immediately knew what she meant.
Imagine if it lasted a little longer, Sha. What do you mean? Nothing, just people forget fast. The moment you walk out of here on two legs, everybody goes back to looking at Linda. You become invisible again, just like before.
She couldn't believe Vicky was suggesting that she pretend to still be disabled.
Vicky, just hear me out. Are you serious right now? You want me to fake being disabled? That's what you're saying? I'm saying you finally have something Linda doesn't have. People's full attention, their sympathy, their love. And you want to just give that up? This is crazy. I'm not doing that. Okay, oh, suit yourself.
At first, she refused. There was no way she was going to do something like that. But Vicky kept talking, and the more Cynthia thought about it, the more tempting the idea became. 2 days later, Cynthia gave Vicky her answer. She was in, but there was one problem. They needed someone who could make the lie believable. And that's when Vicky told her about Dr. Felix.
My family has a private doctor, Dr. Felix. He's been with us for years, very professional, very flexible. So what is his role in this? All he needs to do is tell your parents your legs can't work until further notice. Vicky, that makes no sense. Why would my parents believe another doctor when I'm still here at the hospital getting treatment? Leave that to me, Cynthia. Remember, I'm your best friend, and your parents like me and they want the best for you.
Later that day, Vicky went home and called Mr. Felix.
Good afternoon, Mr. Felix. How's your day going?
Good day, Vicky. My day is going great, thank you. Is there any problem?
Yes, there is a big problem.
What is it?
I am feeling very ill, and my parents said you should come over to see what's wrong.
Okay, I will be there in a few minutes.
All right, thank you.
She told him that something was wrong with her, but she had different plans. When he came, he asked her what was wrong, but she simply smiled and said she had a task for him. And if he refused, she would reveal something she had been keeping a secret about him. You see, years earlier, Vicky found out something about Mr. Felix that could ruin his whole reputation. She had discovered documents revealing that Felix had a criminal record, and if that information ever got out, his career and reputation would be in serious trouble. She made it very clear what she wanted. He was horrified, but Vicky knew exactly where to press.
You know how big my parents are, so if I were you, I'd do every single thing I tell you to.
She told him the plan with Cynthia.
I can't do that.
You have no choice. You will do exactly as I say. Refuse, and everyone will know your secret.
But eventually, Felix gave in. From there, everything became easier. Vicky recommended him to Cynthia's parents as someone trustworthy who would help her with her recovery. He wasn't replacing the hospital doctors. Instead, after Cynthia's condition had stabilized, her parents decided to continue her care under Felix once she was discharged.
Good day, sir. Good day, ma. I am Dr. Felix.
Yes, nice to meet you, Dr. Felix. Vicky and her parents told us a lot of great things about you.
During his follow-up assessments, Felix told them that Cynthia would need a wheelchair for the foreseeable future and that she shouldn't put weight on her legs without medical supervision.
Mr. Felix, are you sure there's no other way?
Yes, ma'am, but I can assure you, in a few months' time, she'll no longer need the wheelchair.
The hospital had already cleared Cynthia to go home. She was stable and there was no reason to keep her there any longer, so they made arrangements for a wheelchair before taking her home. Back at home, Linda was waiting. She had been so excited to see her sister again, but the excitement disappeared the moment she saw the wheelchair. Linda froze, and before she could even process what she was seeing, Cynthia looked at her and whispered, "Look what you did to me. I hope you're happy." And just like that, all the guilt Linda had been trying to control came rushing back. From that point on, Cynthia received more attention than she had ever imagined. Neighbors came to check on her, relatives visited, people at church prayed for her. Everyone wanted to know how she was doing. Linda never felt jealous. If anything, she wished she could take the pain away from her sister. So she kept trying to help. She would assist Cynthia, bring Cynthia food. She would leave little things outside her door. But Cynthia rejected almost everything. Their relationship had become so cold that even being in the same house felt uncomfortable. And yet, there was one person Cynthia could always talk to: Vicky. Whenever Cynthia complained about the wheelchair, Vicky reminded her why they had started this in the first place.
Vicky, I need to talk to you about something. What's up? This wheelchair thing is getting really tiring. Like, yes, I love the fact people notice me now, but how long am I going to keep this up? Well, until we bring Linda completely out of the spotlight. What? Yes, you heard me. Isn't that what we've been doing all this while? And it's working. But, Cynthia, how many times do I have to remind you that we've come too far to stop now? Stop all this talk, I beg.
So Cynthia kept going, even when she was tired, even when she missed being able to move freely, even when she just wanted her old life back. But through all the changes, Cynthia still had one thing that never changed: her love for art. Whenever things became too much, she would retreat to her drawings, quietly filling page after page with the ideas in her head. It was still one place where she could be herself. But while Cynthia tried to keep everything else hidden, Linda began noticing little things that didn't quite add up. One morning, Linda came in to bring Cynthia some water, but something caught her attention. Cynthia's wheelchair was sitting a little too far from the bed. Linda paused. She couldn't help but wonder, how had Cynthia gotten back into bed? It wasn't the first thing that made Linda stop and wonder. Sometimes she would walk into a room and see Cynthia moving her legs normally. Other times, she noticed Cynthia whispering with Dr. Felix. Nothing was obvious enough to prove anything, but Linda couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. So eventually, she decided to ask her sister. She went into Cynthia's room and asked the question directly.
I know you don't want to talk to me, but Linda, leave my room now. Wait, calm down, please. Can I ask you something?
Are you faking this? Cynthia froze. For a moment, she looked terrified, but then she quickly turned the situation around.
What? I'm just asking because I've been noticing. Linda, how dare you? You did this to me. You caused the accident, and you still have the nerve to ask me that.
How could Linda accuse her of faking something like this after everything she had supposedly suffered? Linda immediately felt guilty. She apologized and left.
I'm sorry. Just leave.
But Cynthia wasn't going to let it end there. She knew her sister was smart, and for her to start having suspicions, she was definitely going to find something out very soon. So that night, she called Vicky, and Vicky knew exactly what to do.
Vicky, yesterday night Linda came to ask me something. What's that? She asked me if I was really injured, like if I'm faking this. What? Hope you didn't act guilty, because that girl is smart. No, I acted angry and she left. Okay, that's good. Just calm down and let me think of something. I know what you'll do. So tomorrow morning, you'll tell your parents she accused you of faking your injury. It'll make your parents angry, and when they speak to her, she won't think about it again.
She told Cynthia to tell their parents what Linda had said, and that's exactly what happened. The next day, Cynthia told her parents that Linda had accused her of pretending to be disabled.
Mom, Dad, Linda said something to me that I just can't stop thinking about. I didn't want to say anything because I know you both don't like it when we fight.
What did she say, Cynthia?
She said I'm faking my injury.
What?
Her parents were shocked and furious. They couldn't believe Linda would say something like that.
I don't know why she said that.
I can't believe her. Don't worry, dear, we'll talk to her. Linda, I can't believe you.
How could you say your sister is faking her injury?
And you know how difficult this is for her.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that. It's just that
Just stop it. Your sister doesn't need that now.
you need to be there for Cynthia, okay? She needs you to support her, not be against her.
Linda tried to explain herself, but eventually she just stopped. She cried, she apologized, and decided that maybe it was better if she simply stayed away. So she focused on one thing that had always made sense to her studies. For years, Linda had been preparing for the DreamFame scholarship, and now she was closer than ever. Until one day, a new announcement changed everything. But before we get into what happened next, if you're enjoying the story so far, hit that subscribe button because things are about to get very interesting.
Breaking news. The DreamFame Scholarship Foundation has announced a new eligibility policy for this year's scholarship examination. Due to the overwhelming number of applicants, only one student per family will be permitted to sit for the examination. The foundation says the new measure is aimed at giving more families an equal opportunity to qualify.
The news spread quickly, and while many students were disappointed, Linda wasn't too worried. Even her teacher called to make sure she understood the new rule. But she wasn't worried, because after all, she was the only one in her family who had actually planned to take the exam. Or at least, that's what she thought.
Linda, dear, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Ma.
I have some news about the scholarship.
What news, Ma?
The school made an update. They've decided that only one student per family will be allowed to write the exam because it seems a lot of students applied and they are trying to reduce the number.
Oh, wow. Okay, Ma, thank you.
But that wouldn't be a problem, right? I mean, Cynthia?
No, Ma, she isn't sitting for the exam. I don't think she's interested.
Oh, phew. Well, then you're all good to go. Good luck, Linda.
Yes, thank you, Ma.
That evening, her father announced that there would be a family meeting. And when everyone sat down, Linda heard something she never expected.
We need to talk about the scholarship. So, as we all know, only one person per family can apply. We've been thinking about this a lot, and we feel Cynthia should be the one to write it.
What?
Her parents had decided that Cynthia should take the scholarship exam instead. Linda couldn't understand. She had been preparing for this since GSS 1, but her parents believed Cynthia had a better chance because of her condition. They thought the scholarship committee would be more likely to choose her. And for the first time, Linda couldn't stay quiet.
Linda, think about it. With Cynthia's condition, the scholarship board will look at her application differently. It gives her a much stronger chance of winning.
So you want to use her condition as an advantage?
We want to be strategic. You are strong, Linda. You will find another way.
Another way? Dad, I have been preparing for this specific scholarship since JSS 1. That school is my dream. You know that.
We know, sweetheart. But realistically, Cynthia's situation gives the family a better chance.
The family, what about me?
She told them exactly how long she had worked for this. She begged Cynthia to speak up, to tell their parents that she didn't even want the scholarship. Are you okay with this? Sis, tell them you're not even really into science stuff, please. But Cynthia said nothing, and that silence broke Linda. She stood up and left the dining. She stormed into her room and cried. Years of preparation, years of studying, years of dedication, and now it felt like everything was being taken away from her. And she couldn't help to think that this was all her fault. She had ruined her own life. That night, Cynthia told Vicky what had happened. And Vicky was thrilled. She was so happy. She told Cynthia that he had finally beaten Linda. But something about Vicky's reaction didn't feel right anymore. Cynthia couldn't explain it. She just knew something was changing. Linda had spent years preparing for that scholarship. But now the opportunity she'd worked towards since GSS 1 had been taken away from her. So Linda stopped trying to explain herself. She simply just shut everyone out. At school, she barely looked at Cynthia. At home, she kept to herself. And instead of giving up, she did the only thing she knew how to do. She studied. She began applying to other schools she had never even considered before. And with her final exams approaching, she buried herself in her books. While Linda was trying to rebuild the future she thought she had lost, Cynthia was fighting a completely different battle. She was still following the path Vicky had pushed her into, science during the day and secretly art whenever she could find the time. And somehow, she managed to keep both worlds alive, studying science for school while secretly preparing for the art opportunities she had never told her parents about. As the final exams drew closer, Cynthia was beginning to feel the pressure. She was exhausted and keeping up with everything was becoming harder than she expected.
Oh, Vicky, it's been 3 months. Like we're about to write our final exams, and this wheelchair thing is becoming so tiring. Stop being dramatic, Cynthia. And yes, you said it yourself. School is almost over, so just deal with it. By the way, see how everyone literally adores you now, like even for your grades.
Dr. Felix, she's writing her exam soon. Isn't she getting any better?
Yes, ma'am. So when is she going to finally stop using the wheelchair?
She should be good to work before her graduation.
Her graduation.
Oh, goodness. Anyways, thanks for all you do, Felix.
Then the final exams arrived. Weeks of studying, stress, and sleepless nights finally came to an end. And just like that, their school journey was over. They had a little break before the actual graduation ceremony. And then one day, Linda decided to leave. She decided to go stay with her grandparents till further notice. She just didn't want to be around the people who took the only thing she really wanted away from her. Her parents tried to stop her, but they realized there was nothing they could do. Linda stopped answering calls. She stopped speaking to her family. And for the first time, Cynthia felt completely alone. At first, she thought she was angry, but eventually, something else started taking over. Regret. She began thinking about everything Linda had done for her, everything Linda had sacrificed, and slowly, she started missing her sister. At the same time, Vicky began acting differently. She stopped answering Cynthia's calls. Her messages became shorter. She barely checked on her anymore. And then one night, Cynthia sat alone, thinking about everything. She asked herself a question she had never considered before. What if Vicky had been using me this entire time? The thought scared her. Because if that was true, then how much of her hatred for Linda had actually been hers?
Hello, Vicky. What's wrong? Are you okay? You haven't been answering my calls or replying to my texts. I'm just busy. Busy? Busy with what? See if you don't have anything important to tell me, I'll talk to you later.
A few days to the graduation, Cynthia's parents had already received some good news. Felix had told them that she was recovering well and could begin preparing to walk again. For Cynthia, it was a relief. After a year of pretending, she could finally stop. Graduation day finally arrived. For most students, it was supposed to be a day of celebration. But Linda wasn't planning to go anywhere. She stayed at her grandparents' house, lying down in her room with her graduation clothes untouched beside her. Then her phone rang. It was one of her close friends. She asked Linda when she was coming to the graduation, but Linda simply told her she wasn't going. Her friend couldn't believe it, and instead of arguing over the phone, she asked for the address. A short while later, she showed up at the grandparents' house herself. She wasn't about to let Linda miss her own graduation. So she helped her get dressed, did her makeup, fixed her hair, and reminded her that she had worked too hard to let everything that happened take this moment away from her. And eventually, Linda agreed to go. Their grandfather drove them to the graduation. Meanwhile, back at the Wilson home, Cynthia was getting ready for the graduation ceremony with her parents. But when they finally arrived at the venue, Cynthia couldn't stop thinking about one person. She pulled out her phone and called Linda. Once, twice, again and again. But Linda never answered. As she was searching everywhere, hoping somehow that Linda would appear, she saw Vicky. But this time, Cynthia wasn't happy to see her. She went over to her. She wanted answers.
Vicky, can we talk? Yeah, what's up?
And the conversation quickly turned into an argument.
Why have you been ignoring my calls? I've just been busy now. You know how it is. Busy for 3 weeks. Cynthia, what is this about?
Cynthia accused Vicky of manipulating her, of turning her against Linda, of making her believe things that weren't true.
Was it? Because looking back at everything, every single thing you pushed me to do, it was always about Linda. Getting back at Linda, beating Linda, destroying Linda. Not once did you ask how I was actually feeling. I did everything for you, Cynthia. No, Vicky, you did everything to me. Excuse me? You used me, my sister, my family, everything. And the moment you got what you wanted, you just disappeared. So what was it, Vicky? What did Linda ever do to you that was so bad you spent years doing this? What did she do to me? Fine. You want to know? Primary 6, National Spelling Bee, finals, me and your precious sister. One word, one letter. I missed one letter and she won. Just like that, everything I worked for, gone.
Turns out, years ago in primary 6, Linda and Vicky went head to head in a major national spelling bee competition representing their schools. They were both known as some of the best spellers, but when it was Vicky's turn, she accidentally skipped a letter, and just like that, Linda won. But this wasn't just any competition for Vicky. Vicky's parents had investors there who were ready to partner with their company if she won. So when she lost, the deal fell through, and her parents blamed her. When Vicky found out Linda would be attending the same school as her, she saw her chance to finally get even, and she knew exactly who to use: Linda's twin sister, Cynthia.
What? That's it? A spelling bee?
And eventually, Vicky lost her temper. She started saying everything: the reason she hated Linda, the spelling bee, what happened with her parents, how badly they had treated her after she lost, how that humiliation stayed with her for years, and how she had eventually decided that Linda was the person she needed to blame.
My parents had investors at that competition, Cynthia. People who were backing our family business because of me, because I was supposed to win. I missed one letter and my parents lost everything. Their reputation, their investors, their money, all of it. Because of Linda Wilson and her perfect brain that she didn't even have to try for. And then I find out I'm going to the same secondary school as her. The school I never even wanted to go to. Because my parents couldn't afford the one I was supposed to go to anymore. Because of her. So you decided to use me. I decided to fix it. By destroying my sister. No, by making sure she felt what I felt. By making sure for once in her perfect, effortless life, something didn't just fall into her lap. She worked for everything, Vicky. Linda worked harder than anyone I've ever seen in my life, and you know that. Also, now you're defending her. After everything, after the wheelchair and Felix and the scholarship, don't.
Then she said the words that changed everything. She admitted what they had done with Dr. Felix, the wheelchair, the lies, everything. But neither of them knew that the microphone backstage was still on. The entire hall had been listening, and Linda had arrived just in time to hear it all. She stood there, completely stunned. All those months of guilt, all those nights wondering what she had done wrong. And now she finally knew the truth. Linda walked straight onto the stage. She looked at Vicky and said,
How could you, Vicky? You spent years destroying I and my sister's relationship, all for a stupid spelling bee competition that I barely even remember.
They went on and on. Vicky kept on explaining herself, the way her parents had made her feel like she wasn't good enough. She had carried that anger for years until it became hatred. By the time the argument ended, everyone in that hall knew the truth. Cynthia had lied, Dr. Felix had helped her, and Linda had never been the villain. Her parents were devastated, and Cynthia had nothing left to hide. The energy in the hall wasn't the same as when the graduation started, but they just had to carry on with the ceremony. They gave every student their certificates, and quickly the event was over. The car ride home for Cynthia and Linda was tense. And also Vicky. Her parents had said nothing to her, and that scared her even more. When the twins got home, her father was furious. He demanded to know how she could have done something like this.
How long, Cynthia? How long has this been going on?
Since after the accident, you faked it. You sat in that wheelchair every single day and looked us in the eyes and lied to us.
Do you know what we gave up for you? The money we spent on Felix, the opportunities we took from your sister?
And Linda, after everything she has been through, you used her, your own twin sister.
But in the middle of everything, he said something that hurt Cynthia even more.
I don't even know who you are anymore. You've always been the difficult one, the one we had to worry about, the one who never applied herself.
He reminded her that Linda had always been the exceptional twin. And before he could say anything else, Linda stopped him.
Don't say that. You don't know her. Not really, neither of us did.
She went to her room and brought out something Cynthia hadn't seen in years. Her old drawing book. Page after page was filled with Cynthia's work. Her creativity, her ideas, her talent. Linda told her parents that Cynthia had always been gifted, and somehow, in trying to make Cynthia feel equal to Linda, everyone had forgotten to let Cynthia be herself. Cynthia was both smart and creative, even managing to balance science and art majors while maintaining good grades. Cynthia broke down. She apologized to her parents. Then she turned to Linda, and for the first time in years, she begged her sister for forgiveness.
Linda, I know you wouldn't even want to speak to me at all, but please find it in your heart to forgive me. I'm truly sorry.
Linda hugged her, but she was honest. Things weren't going to magically become normal overnight. Cynthia had hurt her deeply, and rebuilding that trust would take time. But at least they were finally starting. Meanwhile, Vicky's own life had taken a completely different turn. After everything that happened at the graduation, her parents were furious. The story spread quickly, and their family name was dragged into the scandal. It felt like what happened during the spelling bee time had happened all over again. Vicky had destroyed their company. They decided that something deeper was going on with Vicky, so they took her to therapy. And she stayed there for a long time. Vicky had nothing left to distract herself with. As for Dr. Felix, Vicky's parents made sure he was reported to the authorities and his medical career was finished. The secret he had protected for years had finally caught up with him. Back at home, life slowly began to settle. One afternoon, Cynthia was going through her emails when one message caught her attention. She opened it and froze. She had been accepted for the scholarship. Cynthia ran straight to Linda's room. She finally confessed everything. How she had secretly taken the science scholarship exam using Linda's details because she knew Linda deserved the opportunity. She also admitted that she had secretly been studying art all along because despite everything Vicky made her believe, Cynthia had never actually wanted to compete with her sister. Linda was stunned. She was so emotional and happy. She couldn't believe Cynthia could do something like that for her. They immediately told their parents the news and they couldn't have been happier. After everything they had been through, the whole family had something to celebrate together. Months later, their lives looked completely different. Linda began her journey into medicine and it was everything she had ever dreamed of. Cynthia finally stepped into the world of art she had secretly dreamed about for years. It was the best thing she had ever experienced. They were in different schools, living different lives, but they never stopped being sisters. Video calls became their new routine. They talked, they laughed, they caught up on everything. And slowly, the sisters who had once been inseparable were finding their way back to each other. Wait. You seriously think Vicky just got away with therapy? Let's find out what happened to Vicky. Her parents had already made up their minds. They knew this was far beyond a simple mistake, and they wanted Vicky to understand the consequences of what she had done. So they made a decision she absolutely did not expect. They were sending her away to a disciplinary academy. a strict residential school known for discipline, structure, and teaching troubled students how to take responsibility for their actions. The moment Vicky heard the news, she panicked. She begged her parents. She pleaded with them to reconsider. But this time, they were not changing their minds. And just like that, the girl who had spent years controlling everyone else's life suddenly had no control over her own. Her days were completely different now. Early mornings, strict routines, endless chores, and rules she couldn't talk her way out of. For once, there was no Cynthia to manipulate, no Linda to blame, no one to convince that she was the victim. Just Vicky and the consequences of her own actions. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because we're going to be releasing more stories for you to enjoy. Bye!